Hey everybody! For today's class, we are going to be going through our basic foundational postures. Our challenge will be to let ourselves stay in those postures, meaning we're going to have some long holds. So as we go through our practice, let's just try to find stillness in our mind and our body, so kind of quieting that mental chatter that goes on in those long holds. And as always, listen to our bodies, how we're feeling, and what our body needs. All right, we're going to start in Shavasana, so just go ahead and work your way down to the floor. On our backs, you can have your legs out long, feet opening wide, arms at your sides with your palms up. If you need to, keep your knees bent. That might relieve some pressure from your lower back. Or you can always find a seated position or roll to your side. Just want you to be in a comfortable place, settling into your body and the space. And just allowing yourself a few moments of quiet as we start our practice today. Get us in the right mindset, ready for the work that we have to do. Starting to notice our breath, the inhales and the exhales. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening for that ocean wave sound that we create as we find that deep yoga breath. Let's spend a moment trying to make our inhales even with our exhales. So let's breathe in to the count of 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 2. And then exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a big inhale, and then exhale out your mouth. And then just let your breath return to its normal flow. Slowly, we're just going to bring our knees up into our chest. Kind of just rocking from side to side, circling the knees, giving your tailbone and low back a massage. Go both directions. And then let's add in those hips, so just taking those knees and separating them from one another in big circles. Switching directions. And then we're going to pull our knees into our chest. Maybe you curl up into a nice tight ball, pulling everything in. And then slowly relaxing back down. Grabbing behind your thighs. We're going to start to rock forward and back along our spine. And then bringing ourselves up to seated. You can find comfortable crossed legs. You can extend the legs, one leg alternate both legs if it's a knee issue. If it's a low back, if it feels uncomfortable in your low back, you can sit on a block or roll a mat up underneath you just to give yourself a little bit of height. That will tilt the pelvis in a more neutral position. We're going to take a nice big breath. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bring your hands through to heart center. Again, inhale, lift, lengthen as you bring in that new breath, that new energy. And then exhale, let your body soften, relax, release. Again, inhale and exhale. Let's go up one more time. We're going to inhale, lift, lengthen, reaching nice and long. Roll the shoulders down your back away from your ears. Take another big breath. Inhale, and then exhale. We're going to hinge, reaching long. When you can't reach any further, let your hands come to the floor. Make sure those sit bones stay in contact with the mat, and then just slowly start to soften into that fold. You can keep breathing. Inhale to find length. Exhale to soften in. Brace the belly. Inhale, we're going to reach back up. And then exhale, we're just going to float from side to side, lengthening through that side body. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, opposite side. Inhale, come up. Exhale, reach. Inhale, come up. Exhale, reach. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Coming back to center. Big inhale. And exhale, release. Beautiful job. Let's roll over onto all fours. So we're going to make sure that our knees are right underneath our hips, our wrists are right underneath our shoulders. We're spreading our fingers nice and wide like starfish, and then pressing into the pads of your fingers to take pressure off of your wrists. Our belly's pulled in, our tailbone's tucked under slightly for a neutral spine. And then we're engaging the chest and shoulders rather than sinking into our shoulders. We're keeping length and space here. And then we're going to take some cat-cow. So on an inhale, we're going to lift our head, lift our tailbone, let the belly drop, feel the stretch in your abdominal wall. And then exhale, we're going to tuck our head, tuck our tailbone under, feeling the stretch in our spine and shoulders. Inhale, come up for cow. Exhale, tuck under for cat. Again, inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Coming back to our neutral spine. We're going to tuck our toes and lift our sit bones nice and high for downward facing dog. Walking our feet, bending our knees, just finding any movement that feels good for you. Maybe you want to shift forward and back. Maybe you want to lift one leg and circle it. Whatever kind of movement feels natural to you to help you loosen up in your down dog this morning. And then we're going to find some stillness. Starting at those hands, press the floor away from you to really lengthen through the spine, lifting your sit bones nice and high, chest softening towards the thighs. And then as you feel ready, we start to press the heels towards the floor. You can keep your knees bent as long as you need to for comfort. Options for down dog, you can always just stay in that all fours position, or you can come down to your forearms if it's a wrist issue. That's always an option as well. Just listen to your body and what it needs. We're going to lift our heels, look to our hands, and then just baby step the feet up to meet the hands, where we will come into our forward fold. Relaxing through head, neck, and shoulders. Kind of shake things out if it helps you let go through that upper body. Maybe
swing from side to side. We're starting to feel a stretch up the backs of the legs. Just be mindful of that stretch. We want to feel it, but we don't want it to be painful. On an inhale, we're going to bring our hands to thighs, shins, feet, or floor, and look up to a nice flat back, lengthening out through our spine. Our goal here is to take as much curve out of the back as we possibly can. Take a big breath, inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, and exhale. Big bend in the knees, brace your belly. Inhale, slowly rise all the way up. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Beautiful job. All right, finding our mountain pose, toes and heels together, unless you want to separate them for balance. We're going to think about rooting all four corners of our feet into the mat, and then strengthening our legs up from the floor. So kneecaps pulling up into the thighs, belly pulls in, tailbone tucks under, and shoulders roll down, your back away from your ears, crown of your head is lifted. Just notice the strength and stability you have in this most basic posture of all. We want to keep this feeling of strength and stability in our body as we move through the rest of our postures today. All right, take a nice big breath. Inhale, arms lift overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift to lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Big bend in the knees, hands to the floor. Right foot steps back to a nice long lunge. We're going to lift our chest. You always have the option to drop that right knee to the mat. As we let our hips lower and soften, we're going to lift that chest, finding that deep stretch. And then our left foot steps back to meet the right, and we're in down dog. Option is to stay here in down dog, or you can flow through a vinyasa. The first one we're going to take nice and slow. We're going to shift forward to plank, drop your knees, shift forward slightly as we bend those elbows, come to a hover. You want your shoulders and elbows to be even. Then we're going to take our chest and our belly to the floor together, roll up to baby cobra, cobra, or knees and thighs lift, up dog, exhale back, down dog. Beautiful job. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog, and bring that foot all the way through. Help it get there if you need it. Take your time, find your lunge, lifting your chest, letting your hips soften, and then left foot steps forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, nice and slow, bring it all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Left side, inhale, lift. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Big bend in the knees, hands to the floor, left foot steps back. Finding that nice deep lunge, lifting your chest. Right foot steps back, hips high, down dog. Choose to stay or shift forward to plank. Knees or toes, lower chaturanga. You can take the chest and belly to the floor or roll up from here to find your back bend. And then exhale back, down dog. Left leg lifts, three-legged dog. Bring the foot through, plant it in between your hands, finding that lunge. Back foot steps forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, nice and slow, bring it all the way up. And release. Beautiful, changing it just a little bit. Inhale, lift. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Big bend in the knees, hands to the floor. Jump or step, feet back to plank. Lower, chaturanga. Inhale up, up dog. Exhale back, down dog. Lift the heels, look to the hands. Jump or step, feet to the top of your mat. Relax into that forward fold. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, nice and slow, bring it all the way up. And release. Beautiful. Moving into our standing sequence today. So big breath in. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Big bend in the knees, hands to the floor. Jump or step, feet back to plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale up, up dog. Exhale back, down dog. Nice deep breath, settling into that down dog. We're going to take our right leg, lift, three-legged dog. And then we're going to bring the knee to the nose. Squeeze and hold it, and then take it back up. Second one, knee to nose. Try to get a little bit closer. Maybe lift the left heel and back up. Last one, closest one yet. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And back up. Beautiful. Let's take that foot all the way through. Plant it in between your hands. Left heel comes to the mat. Left toes are pointed to that left front corner. And we're going to inhale, come up. Exhale, sink in. Warrior two. Oh, I'm sorry. Warrior one. Warrior one, we want our hips to be square out in front of us. So really working on bringing this left hip forward as the right hip comes back. Belly's pulled in, tailbone is tucked under. We're looking up and looking back if it feels comfortable for you. You can play around with the arms if you want a little bit more work. You can open up into goalposts. You can even take them behind you and open up here. Totally up to you. But what I want you to really focus on is allowing yourself to soften the body. Use the breath to sink deep. And just hold that posture. Be still wherever you are. This is your practice. When you need a break, you take it. But my advice for you today is to tell yourself to hold it for one more breath and see where you can go. Beautiful. Take a nice big inhale, and then exhale. We're going to open up warrior two. So adjusting the feet so that your front heel runs into the arch of your back foot. We're opening up our hips to the long edge of the mat. This front knee is pressing open towards the pinky toe, and then we're sinking nice and deep in that front leg. Remember, the deeper you go, the more challenging it's going to be for you. Challenge yourself and try to stay there as long as possible. Any thoughts of discouragement, leave your body. Control your mind, control your thoughts, and just allow yourself to be in the posture. Great job. Go ahead and straighten up that right leg. Shift your hips back towards the left side of the room, and then we're going to reach long, keeping the length in mind as we tip at the hip to bring our hand to thigh, shin, foot, or floor, and opening up our chest into triangle pose. So we want our right leg to be as straight as we can get it without locking the knee. We want to really focus on opening up the chest. Eye gaze is up, unless there's tension in your head or neck. Just feel free to look at the sidewall or down at your foot. Engaging our inner thighs here. Nice deep breaths. We're going to take our top arm and reach long. This is going to find a little bit of extra length in your side body. So you should feel this from the tips of your fingers all the way down into your hip, keeping your chest open as you reach. Taking a couple of breaths here. Nice big inhale. Exhale, let that arm swing through. Turn your toes so they're both facing the long edge of the mat. Take a nice deep breath, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, come into your nice deep forward fold. If you need blocks or a single block here to bring the floor up to you, use it. Remember, anything at home can work for a block. You can use books, cans, blankets, whatever you need to bring the floor up to where you need it to be. Bracing the belly, inhale, we're gonna lift, nice and slow, all the way back up. Turning those right toes, bringing yourself back into warrior two. Turn, adjust that back foot as needed. Find warrior one. And then release hands either side of that front foot. Step back, down dog. Choose to stay here or bring it forward to plank, lower chaturanga. Inhale up, exhale back. Nice deep breaths. Give yourself permission to take a bigger break if you need it. You can find child's pose. You can stay here a little longer. Just listen to your body. All right, left leg lifts, three-legged dog. Knee to nose, squeeze and hold it, and lift back up. Again, a little bit closer, knee to nose. Maybe come up on that those right toes, and then back. Last one, knee to nose, and back up. Beautiful, let's bring that foot all the way through, plant it in between your hands. Back heel comes down, toes are angled to that right front corner of your mat. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sink in, warrior one. Hips are square to that front edge of the mat, really working that left hip forward, or excuse me, right hip forward, left hip back. Make sure we're planting the pinky edge of that right foot into the mat as you bring your hips towards the front. Hands can be at heart center, they can be lifted overhead, or any position you want. Just find that position, choose it, and then stick with it. Be decisive. Taking those nice deep breaths, allowing your body to just sink into the posture. Finding that stillness. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, we're going to turn. Opening up to warrior two. Adjusting the feet, making sure we're in that alignment that we need. So the front heel is running into the arch of the back foot. Hips are opening up to the long edge of the mat, and we're reaching through fingertips. Breathing to sink nice and low in the posture. The deeper you go, the more challenging it's going to be to hold and to find that stillness. Quieting the mind, finding softness in the body as we find that strength and stability as well, creating that balance that we need for the posture, for our lives. Great job. Let's straighten up the left leg, shift your hips back, and then reach long. Again, we're keeping that length in mind. We're going to tip at the hip, let our hand come to thigh, shin, foot, or floor, opening up through the chest. Gaze goes up towards the ceiling unless you need to look at the wall or down at the floor. If you have any kind of tension in your head or neck. Keeping in mind that that left leg is as straight as you can get it without locking the knee. We want to keep a slight micro bend there. Opening up through our chest. All right, top arm's going to reach long overhead. Find that extra length for a couple of breaths. Still keeping your chest open. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale, we're going to turn those feet. This time, toes are going to point out, heels are going to point in. Take a big bend through the knees and bring yourself up to goddess. So we're going to find those cactus arms, squeezing our shoulder blades together. Belly's pulled in, tailbones tucked under, and our knees are drawing out along our toe line. Sinking nice and deep here. Legs back up. Turn the feet so we find warrior two. Again, keep turning, adjust that back foot. Warrior one. Big breath in. Exhale, hands release. Step back. Down dog. Choose to stay here or take the vinyasa, coming forward to plank, lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, back, down dog. Let's drop to our knees. Knees come wide, toes together. Drop your sit bones back towards your heels, arms lengthen out long for child's pose. Make it an active child's pose, so we're continuing to reach those fingertips forward, lengthening through our side bodies. Slowly bringing yourself up to down dog. Let's take our right leg lifted to three-legged dog. Bend the knee and open up that hip, and then just kind of circle it, finding some movement, maybe bend and straighten. Trying to press that right armpit down to the floor as we open up the hip. And then take it back down, down dog, and let's lift the left leg, open the hip, pressing the left armpit down to the floor as we open up the hip, finding some movement, some fluidity. And back down, down dog. Lift your heels, look to your hands, jump or step feet to the top of your mat. Relax into your forward fold. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, nice and slow, bring it all the way up. And release. Beautiful job. We're going to move into our balance from here. So nice, basic foundational balance. This is kind of a good place to play around with your balance a little bit, see where you're at. It's a good place to practice if you're just starting to balance. So we're going to plant our right foot, grounding it in. Again, remember those four corners, rooting them into the mat, kneecap pulling up into the thigh. And then our left leg is going to come. You can use the toes as a kickstand. You can take the foot to the calf or take it all the way up into the thigh, finding that tree pose. I want you to think about the hips. We've opened them up and prepared them. So really think about pressing the knee back, keeping the hips square. Once you've got the legs, hands can come to heart center, pressing firmly together here for another place of stability, or reaching the arms long overhead for a little bit more. And then from here, you can do all sorts of things to challenge yourself. You can add gentle movements through the arms. That's going to make the feet work a little bit extra. You can shift your eye gaze, so just start looking up. You can close your eyes for even more. Just tiny little shifts that are trying to work that balance, that foundation. And slowly we're going to come out, hands to heart center, releasing the foot, coming back to our mountain pose. You can shake the legs out a little bit. And then we're going to go to the other side. So left foot grounded into the mat, kneecap pulling up into thigh, belly pulled in, remembering that strong foundation of our mountain, and then lifting the right foot to either toes on the mat for a kickstand, foot to the calf, or foot to the thigh. Try to avoid the knee. It's just putting a lot of extra pressure on the joint. And then once you're there, make sure that you don't jet this hip out. You want to keep everything nice and strong and straight. Hands at heart center. Setting your eye gaze, finding that focal point. If you need a wall, have one nearby or a chair. If you're ready to lift the arms, lift the arms. And then you decide how you want to challenge yourself today. Maybe changing and shifting your eye gaze. Maybe closing your eyes. Remembering to breathe, letting yourself settle into the space. And slowly bringing hands to heart center, releasing the foot and shaking it out. Great job. All right, back to our mountain pose. Take a nice big breath, inhale. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, lift, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. We're gonna widen our stance, toes to the outer edges of the mat, heels point in, and then we're just gonna lower ourselves down to Malasana. So options, you can just come into a squat, supporting yourself with your hands on your thighs, making sure the knees are drawing out along the toes. You can drop a little further with elbows on thighs, or you can drop all the way in. If you have a block or anything else at home that works as a block, feel free to sit on it. That will help you get the hips open but still feel supported. You want hands at heart center. You can use those elbows to open the legs up a little bit if it feels good. Taking nice deep breaths. Keep lifting through the chest as those sit bones soften and lower. We're going to take the hands down to the mat. We're just going to step our feet back, right foot back, left foot back. You can go straight back to down dog or take vinyasa. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, come up. Exhale, back. Nice deep breaths. We're going to take our right leg and step it through. Letting our hips soften. Drop your back knee. If you have a block nearby, grab it. We're going to inhale, come up. And then exhale, we're just going to let ourselves sink into this front hip flexor. So keeping the tailbone tucked under, belly is pulled in to support that low back. Arms are lifted. Again, you can find those cactus arms if you want to. If you need extra support, hands are here, or even to blocks or the floor here. Looking up, looking back. Inhale, we're gonna lift overhead. Exhale, right hand's gonna drop to that block or the floor. Grab it, set it there if you need it. They can just hang as well if you don't quite reach the floor. Inhale, if you want to bring it with you, come up, switch it, and then exhale, take it over to the left. We're reaching long overhead with that right hand. Beautiful. Inhale, come up. Exhale, hands release either side of that front foot. We're going to step our front foot out to the outer edge of the mat so both hands are on the inside. And then we're going to find that runner's lunge. So if this is good here, you're feeling a good stretch, feel free to stay here. If you want to take it a little bit further, you're going to drop down to elbows on a block or elbows on the floor. I want you to think about your right knee hugging your right elbow, or shoulder, I guess. Just think about those hips swirling. If you want a little extra challenge, you can lift the knee. Slowly coming back up to palms. And then we're going to step that right foot back and walk the feet a little bit in your down dog. Loosen up. And then the left foot steps forward in between the hands. Drop the right knee, soften the right foot. Inhale, come up. Exhale, drop in. Again, really focusing on the core, keeping it pulled in tight. Looking up, looking back, adding those cactus arms if you like. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand drops towards the floor or a block. And that right arm's reaching long overhead. Keeping your chest open. Inhale, come up. You can bring your block with you if you like. And then switching, exhale, dropping the left hand to the block or the floor, reaching long overhead. Inhale, come up. And exhale, release. Step the left foot out to that outer edge of the mat. So both hands are on the inside of the foot. Staying here. You can stretch, you can lift the knee for a little extra strength, or you can come down, elbows to a block, elbows to the floor. Taking nice deep breaths. The left knee is hugging that left shoulder. Getting a deep stretch in the hips. Just imagine your breath is flowing through those hips to release any tension. Coming back up to palms. We're going to step the left foot back, find down dog, walk the feet, loosen up. And then we're going to drop to our knees, cross your feet and sit back. Taking the legs out long, in front. Kind of shaking things out a little bit from here. I'm going to take a nice big seated forward fold. So inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, hinge, reach long. When you can't reach any further, soften into the fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. Inhale, come up. And exhale, release. Bending those knees, we're going to find ourselves in boat pose. Making sure you're in the center of your mat. We're going to grab behind our thighs, keeping our chest lifted. If you're ready to find your balance, you can start to lift the toes up off of the mat. Staying here if this feels good. If you're ready for more, you can release the arms or extend. And then slow and controlled. Grab the legs if you need to. We're going to lower down so that our feet and our head find the mat at the same time. Letting your body relax. bending your knees, bringing your glutes as close, or your heels as close to your glutes as you can get them. Palms at your sides, hands at your sides, palms down. We're gonna press into the floor, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs, hold the belly in tight and lift up into bridge. Weight is on our shoulders. If you want to clasp your hands underneath you to get a little bit higher, feel free. Just really working on the lift. We're going to pulse for 5. Lower, squeeze 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Squeeze and hold. Lift, lift, lift. And then slowly lower down, 1 vertebrae at a time. We're going to take our feet straight up in the air. Let your spine relax and soften. Letting the blood flow reverse, draining those legs. Taking nice, deep, cleansing breaths. Let's go ahead and bend our knees, take our arms out wide to a T, brace the belly, and we're just going to let our knees fall to the front. Making sure our right shoulder blade is pressing into the mat. Eye gaze can shift to those right fingertips. Brace the belly, bring back to center, and then let the knees drop to the right. Left shoulder blade pressing down into the mat. Eye gaze shifts to the left fingertips. Pull the belly in tight. Lift back to center. Take the feet back up. This time lift the arms and then shake everything out. Shake, shake, shake. Go ahead and bend the knees. Wrap your arms around the legs. Curl up into a nice tight ball. Take a big breath in. And exhale. Let yourself relax and release into your place of final rest. Whatever that looks like for you today, settling into the space, taking those nice deep cleansing breaths, finding this last quiet moment of stillness in your body and in your mind. If you're not quite ready to come out of your relaxation, please feel free to stay longer. If you are ready, we're just going to bring in gentle movements through fingers, toes, wrists, ankles. And then if it feels good, we're just going to stretch our arms long overhead, point our toes, and take up as much space as we possibly can. And then slowly let your arms come back down to your sides, relaxing one more time. Gently bring your knees up into your chest. And again, we're just going to rock from side to side or circle those knees to massage the low back and tailbone. And then when you're ready, roll to your favorite side. Take a couple of breaths in recovery position. Slowly bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated place. Keep your eyes closed for just a few moments. Acknowledging the work that you did today, the strength and the space that you created through your body. Take one final breath all together. Inhale, lifting arms long overhead. And exhale, bringing hands through to heart center. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. Look forward to recording more classes for you.